Paste. All that waiting time, I didn't get the paste ready. Morning, gang. Good morning, gang. Good morning, gang. Good morning, gang. Printing, yes. Do I remember how? The only printing I get on. This is the party bench. This is the print party room. No point moving the camera. This is the print party room. There's no print parties, of course. Hasn't been for weeks. Won't be for, who knows. It's because of the campaign. We started that net campaign thing a few days ago. And unbelievable. We prepared a bunch of the packages. We prepared a bunch of the packages that have all the tourist maps and the subway map and everything else inside it. And as part of the campaign, of course, we promised people they'd get one of the party prints. And we prepared dozens and dozens and dozens of the party prints over in the Ome workshop for them to ship out, and we're running out. Yesterday I sent another couple of dozen, and they need more. The campaign has been stunningly well received, to our shock, because we're worried about post offices all over the place. Story of the waterfall. Okay, what's happening now? Wait a minute, we can fix this. There's the fan is running on this thing, but I've got the microphone maybe set too close to it. Let's try this. The mic is sitting right beside the computer, so let's move it. Let's put the mic under the shelf. This might be noisy. Hang on. Let's take the mic. Testing. Is that better? The microphone is now under the shelf, away from the computer. There's the computer looking at me on the shelf, and underneath it now there is the microphone. So this perhaps might be better to show. Is it better? Thank you, I should have thought of it. Okay, what about the camera setup? Is that okay? This one I can't control, that's the computer. There's a light right here, so I can't, move this back too much. Anyway, I'm not going to be, you don't need to see my face. Freshly washed last night. And we've only got one camera, there's not enough electrical plugs here to run another camera at the same time. Anyway, let's get going. Okay, what's going to happen here? This thing, it's the print, it's the Catbus print. We're not legally supposed to be using this, but we do it for demonstrations and kids and stuff like that. And I've got paper in here, stack paper, and we've got about 90 minutes. So I'll tell you what, there's 3 colors. Slightly over-modulated mic, as in I should turn the gain down. I can turn the gain down a little bit, down. Let's see. The sweater has a hole already? Where? This one? Didn't fall apart in wash. It's been washed, not dozens of times. It's been washed about once a month or so. It's okay. It's get right arm. No. Wood chips. Okay, as I was trying to say, this is a 3-color print. So in order that you can see me get to the end, what I'll do now, we've got like time me. Let's do 25 minutes, set up 25 minutes, set up 25 minutes. So I will start printing one color now, and I'll just keep going. And you tell me when 25 minutes is up, and it's time to flip and change to the second color. That way we'll get a batch of prints finished this morning. And I can get them in the parcel service on the way over to Ome. And my next job this morning will be color separation work on print number 7. John, this is the party room. This is the party bench. This is where the first color of the Great Wave is normally printed. You have been here any number of times. My God, John has been here like a lot of times. just zoomed in tighter. So if I move the camera just a little bit here, we look out now. That's the shop. We're looking out down to the shop down the other end. This is the first bench in the party room. Today with our special guest, Fringe. Papers out, yes, four packs. They are still busy up there. Tokyo is now in its last few days before the hammer falls. I don't know, the governor warned us last night. The number of cases are increasing, especially in Taito-ku, right where we are. So the hammer is going to fall any day now. So I've stocked up with some food upstairs. The printers are trying desperately to get the print number 7 finished, the 7th July print finished, before we may have to go into hibernation for a while. Ishikawa-san this morning, she came before I was out of bed. She came up the stairs. This is the cat bus, and this is one color of 3. This is not going to be hugely interesting printing this morning, but whatever. Whatever. I don't have any control of it. I got to get this done this morning. How was the Motor Olympics? Of course, it's just a relief just to get rid of that thing. It's been an albatross, you know, just whatever, get rid of it. The people who organize it now have stunning problems, of course, but at least just get that thing out of the way, deal with it later. That's a common sense approach, of course. There are some stunning problems with postponing it, though. It's not just a question, okay, instead of Tuesday, let's start Thursday, you know. One of the big problems is the Athletes' Village. To house the athletes for this thing, they built a whole set of, they built an Athletes' Village, which was doubling as condominiums, and they've sold the condominiums. The idea was have the Olympics, get the athletes out, clean up, finish it up, and sell them. And they're already sold, most of them. So people have got their mortgages set up and ready and expecting to move in whatever it was, October. So there is no Athletes' Village available for next year, so I guess they have to start again, build another one. I don't know, who knows? So this is the, because this is the party room setup, it's a plywood block. This is not our real cherry wood blocks. This is a kind of semi-junk paper. It's not our true washi paper. It's an easy to print. It's a kind of a Torinoko paper. It's machine made. It comes in giant rolls. And it's very hard, physically hard. I've got to bear down, power. So we're using Murasaki Bara. The one from Goto-san student bar. It's called Murasaki, that means purple. And these things are hard. They're like rocks in there. And this print of this design, we don't normally use this in our work. We haven't been licensed from Ghibli to do this, and it's not fair to use their stuff without permission, really. And the reason I have this set of blocks, and this is one of the oldest set of blocks in our business. This is from, it'll be 1988 or 1989. Back when I was living in Hummer, before I was even selling prints, I was still practicing and learning how to make them. And the community center, a guy, I guess the library people knew what I was doing. And somebody at the local community center said, Dave, can you do an event for kids at the local culture festival? Every town has a culture festival in October or November. So for the culture festival, I cut this set of blocks and had an event where kids could come and line up and try printing it for themselves. That was the origin of our print parties. This is 1988 or 1989 somewhere. Like 30 plus years ago. And I carved this set of blocks to use in that event. So we don't use this normally in our party room here. You know, the party room for us, it's a commercial event, and we're not going to, you know, we can't use somebody else's design for a commercial thing. So this set of blocks gets used for like that, kids demonstrations or special events, of which I think this is one. The Kento, yeah, they're just pieces of cardboard. Registration marks are just pieces of cardboard. And again, this is because this is a block for beginners to use. They need something that they can see and grab onto and feel and touch. And in recent years, the registration marks we're using, you can see them. We do stuff like this in recent years. This is part of our Great Wave. The registration marks are massive, huge corners with a landing. The paper comes in like an airplane. This is what we use now for our print parties, so people can really easily find it. But back in 1989, I hadn't had much experience. And I originally carved my little wooden Kento. Nobody could see it, so we stuck on these pieces of paper. Yeah, there's a page on my website about this, I think, from back in 1980, whatever. It's vintage, truly vintage block set, absolutely. And as usual with all the print party setups, we're printing this backwards. All of our printmaking normally is done with the key block first. You print the key block and you can see where the lines are, so that when you're printing the colors, if there's a bit of misregistration, you can fix it. But when we're doing the print party prints, it's bang, bang, bang. There's no time to wait on a normal print party. Somebody prints the first block, they move on to the second block, they move on to the third block. And if we do the key block first, it smears. You can't print a block in Sumi and then within seconds print color on top. It will just smear. Our normal printing, we print the key block first, and then a day later or more, we print the colors. And in the case of the print party, it doesn't matter doing it backwards because, well, a couple of things. One, the people doing it, they can't adjust registration anyway, so they trust us to have it all worked out. And second is, they can't see the finished print. Now, in this case, they know it's going to be a Kappa, so that's okay. But on some of our prints, it's almost difficult to see what it is until the key block is done at the end of the process. And they pick it up, bang, and they can't believe what they're seeing. It just looks so good. The video from last week, and I thought it was okay actually. There was a hot mic thing at the end, and I was chatting with Evelyn and Tobias about some of the employees here, and I guess people seemed to think it was something I shouldn't be talking about in public, so I took it down. I myself am not panicked about it, and we did forget the mic was open, of course, but I don't think we said anything bad about anybody. We don't roll like that here. I don't talk badly about people. Adjust the gain down again. If it goes down any farther, the gain at the moment is on, well, there's gain controls all over the place, but the one here says minus 11.2. Let's drop it down a bit. Minus 13.7. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Sounds like the mic is off, huh? Sounds great, whatever. You'll know what we're talking about when you go back and rewatch. Like, do you think I rewatch? I have time to do that. This is indeed Missed the Game. This was a present from Jed San at Christmas time 2 years ago. I think at that time Missed was a 25th anniversary or 35th or something, 25th anniversary. And Jed saw a promo for it. He buys t-shirts himself, I guess, so he knows about stuff like that. And he knew I had played this game many, many years ago. So yeah, this sweatshirt's a present from Jed. I guess with family there, he does Christmas and stuff, so he thinks about people this way. I myself haven't been, so I haven't even responded. He's given me these presents and I've never done anything back. You know, Christmas is not a thing in my life, you know. But for him, with 4 kids and in America and being a Christian, Christmas for him is a big deal. So. How's the time? We're still okay? The paper in here is in groups. I don't know how many sheets. That was the first group. There's another group now. A couple of things about this. Paste and pigment, rubbing it out here. Normally for us, when we're trying to print carefully and cleanly without making any streak marks, we do the final rubbing across the grain like this. Really lightly, carefully, take some time, and then print. And that means there's no stroke brush lines in the print. But here, for 2 reasons, I'm going to do it this way. One is this is a fast, dirty, quick job, but we don't want to take the time for it. The second is having a few streaks like this. In this case, it's not a bug, it's a feature. You want a chocolate egg for that? I had to tell you what it was. I said cat, and I said transportation, and you want a chocolate egg for that? People couldn't even guess it was printing. I was so disappointed in you guys this morning. And now you're asking for eggs. The other thing about this too is you don't have to put pigment on every time. What I've done here, dab of water on the towel, and look, there's lots of pigment around the thing, so I'm pulling it back. Pull the pigment back in from the bottom and from the top, because there's lots of pigment left over on the brush each time. And not doing that, if you just print out, you get huge clumps of pigment all around the thing. But if you pull it back in every few times, you end up at the end of the day almost with a pretty much clean block. So Jacques-san, it's getting late for you, right? I guess actually in the summertime, the Europeans have it better, right? The stream is an hour earlier. For our North American friends, the stream is an hour later, I think, isn't it? How does it, I forget how that works, actually. These prints are indeed for a special event. They're prints that accompany the campaign we have running right now. I'm not quite sure how long the campaign will be able to run for, as long as the post offices, in America at least, are still up and running. And this is one of the gift items that we give with the campaign. There's a link somewhere. Should I put the link in? Hang on a sec. Spell Mokuhankan correctly, mokuhankan.com. Someone's going to get me to this. No, I got it. How's our time being? Last 25 minutes or so, Joe? Still okay. Well, if you have a specific request for a specific party print, put it in with your order or talk to Cameron soon. The only staff, we're not just doing this cat bus. I've done the Great Wave, the cat bus, we've done a bunch of these, the man doing the cherry blossoms, and Ole has them in random. They've just got a stack of them, so they're just putting a random one in each package. And we didn't really do it. If we had put a list up and done requests, then we're really in trouble trying to keep track of which ones are left and print more. So in general, they're not taking requests. But if you've seen this one, whatever, write to Cameron. I don't know. But if it was yesterday, then it may have gone already. So, or yesterday, your time or my time. I don't know. The other thing about this is when we started this campaign, the idea was to help make work for our printers. Because the shop is closed, the print party staff are looking for other work. I don't want to just cut them and lay them all off. Shiba-san's making her prints, Kawai-san's working upstairs, Yamada-kun, who else? Nakamura-san needed work. So part of the deal about making the campaign was, we did the campaign and put this into it so that we would have work for those guys. Both of them turned out, I'm too busy, I can't do it. So Dave here is back working at the print party. I'm not following. Yeah, we have no permission from Ghibli for this. This is not part of the official Ghibli thing that we've been proposing for years. This is simply a fly under the radar little print. We don't sell this. It's not on our website. We don't use it in the print parties normally. It's just a little fly under the radar. We still do use it for kids' activities. You know, we did one last year at a museum in Yokohama. They asked us, they twisted my arm and got us to do a kids' activity. And we used this block for that. As far as the Ghibli thing goes, we can't even think about it right now. We're just so snowed under. We don't have production capability. At some point in the future, when we get more carvers and printers, when, if, whatever, if we ever end up getting our production capability back up strong, and this is nothing with the virus, it's just our normal growth and everything. If we do, then yeah, I'd like to try talking to them again. But at the moment, it's just simply off the table. Okay, I'm not catching all this. I'm sorry if I've missed some questions. I'm sorry. Is the CAP project still accepting submissions? Yes, but not for the first 4 designs. I've got lots now. The first 2 are production already. The next 2 they're not decided, but I've got lots of interesting. Evening Glow, I've got lots of interesting submissions. What comes to mind? Clearing Weather, we're still short. Soka. Okay, we're at 8:25. I think I had better switch over here. I think I better switch to the next color. I do not want to be here all day. I've got other work to do, so let's do this. Let's combine now Here's our pack of prints. They're actually stacked heads and tails. Let's put away the unused paper. Okay. One color out of 3. Let's switch. We might get some trouble with our surrounding on this. It's not really cleaned up very carefully. Okay, pigment. Let's find some pigment. Now this does not need much at all. I think that was yellow. We want kind of brown. I've got some red. This was left over from something else they were doing here the other day, so I'll need a bit of black. I've got some black here. We might try mixing on the block. It doesn't much matter. Questions, questions, questions. Seems okay, can I? Now this block is worn, and I mean worn, worn, worn. And these things here, these little dots, they should be, sharp triangles. They're just rounded like crazy. I have no idea how many thousands of prints have been made from this. Now the pressure I'm going to use for the next one is different. This last one was for the most part a single block. So I pressed quite firmly, got the paw, got the tail, and away we went. Quite firm pressure. This one now, I'm going to back off to whatever 10% of the pressure. I'll need a bit of a firm touch on the tail, but it's a bit of a wider thing. But the rest of it is all fairly thin, so it'll be a much, much lighter touch. But the block is dry, 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 so we've got to get the block drinking. Drink, drink, drink. The shipping, we're checking every morning to see if the post office is still handling, and I'm checking the websites of the major countries that we deliver to. The European post offices, America, England, Canada, Australia. There's a message on our own order form now, be careful, we can guarantee shipment because everything's trackable, but we can't guarantee it's going to be there tomorrow, obviously given the situation. So we'll see. Okay, let's give it. Is there any difference in how much water you need for a fresh block compared to a really old warm? No, the blocks are, it's a matter of how dry it is. This is a piece of plywood. This really drinks water really quickly, and then it runs okay. After a couple of minutes, it'll be saturated because it's just plywood, which is really soft. The cherry for us, the hard blocks, like the key block on a microwave, it's really dense. And before we use this, we moisten it like for half an hour before we start using it. Otherwise, when we put the pigment on, it just gets sucked right in and nothing comes back out. So we've got to get enough moisture in the first few millimeters of the wood so that when we put our own moisture on for the pigment, it doesn't disappear right away. So for our real printing, moistening the block before we start is important, and it's more difficult for a key block on harder, denser wood than it is for a color block. And this is even lighter wood, so it's very, very quick and easy. Just make sure it's not bone dry. It's good now to go, I'm sure. Let's give it a go. I'm not quite sure what color is going to come up, so let's do this. Let's give it a bit of brown, and I want to give it the tiniest, tiniest, tiniest touch of black. And we'll just mix it right on the block here. Let's see what happens. This is not an addition print. We don't have to worry about all these prints being exactly the same color. They're little gifties for people. So if I get someone with a little bit more black and a little bit less black, it doesn't matter. If it's a critical issue, we mix our pigment in the bowl, get the exact right tone, and then go from there. That's going to be dangerous here, I think. Let's see. Okay, let's have a look and see what it looks like. There's our print, just the yellow. Now, light touch. Light. Bit more here on the tail. Firmly on the tail, light in the middle, and super light over the paw. And let's see what we got. And there's our, so far, our two-tone. Look at that, beautiful, beautiful. I think I'll stick with that. Let's roll. I put my heads and tails, the yellow ones, so these have to come out backwards. This is now upside down, so flip it around and on she goes. I'm keeping them heads and tails in there to try and balance the moisture. Off she comes, and again, in it goes backwards, heads and tails again. So that in the pack here we've got wet, dry, balance. If I put them all right on top of each other, the paper quickly gets twisted, distorted. Something different this block from the previous one as well too. The previous one, we put the pigment in the middle area here, rubbed it around and printed, and there was very little pigment left over. A little bit of yellow around the outside. So I had to put a lot back on each time. But for this one, you can see what's happening. There's a printing area and a non-printing area. They're all mixed together. So pigment covers the whole thing, but when the paper comes on and takes it, it really takes about, you tell me, 30 or 40% of the pigment disappears, and the rest stays on the inside. So the brush comes back now, and 60 or 70% of the pigment is still there. It just gets spread out. So for a block like this, I don't need to refresh quite as much each time as you do for a flat beta block. Pause for a second, things get dry. Excuse me. I can't catch the chat there. I'm sorry if there's no questions or. Yo, sure. Oh, it's Cameron-san. Look at this, look at this. What's this? 9496212. What's that? He's put his phone number in the chat. Actually, maybe he's speaking Japanese. You know, numbers in Japanese could be pronounced with syllables, and it could be ku, kushi, kudo, ni, kushi, kudo. Is there a hidden message in there in Japanese? Who's going to be the first one to figure out Cameron's mystery number? Kushi, 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 marushi, kudo, fui ni. Kuyo. Maruyo, there's a word in there somewhere. Huh? What? That's an easy to remember. Postal code, so God. You're kind of overthinking it. Okay, sorry. All right, you win that one. But what is the word? A week or so ago, Cameron went home to do his work, and he was thinking it's going to be the easy life. He's got a pregnant wife, a young kid, a virus situation, and now a huge campaign. I think he thinks he's chosen the wrong job. I don't know. Hanging in there, Cameron-san? Kushi kuro ichi. How's it going down there, Cameron-san? Can you chat with us about this? How's the family like having daddy at home all day? Video. Soka. Video. Okay, well, just so you know, today my plan is, Cameron-san, if you want me to get on that video right away, today my plan is, of course, finish this by about 9:30 or so, get it off to Omi, because they need these. And then the next job on my desk that can't be delayed, Kawasaki-san sent me the key block for number 7. And she's got no work right now, so I've got to do the color separation work for number 7 for her. So that's going to be most of my day today, sir. Plus whatever else happens here, of course. Soka, your dad's got working hours. That how you've done it? Sign on the door. Put up a sign shows I'm working. Ren has learned he can't come into the room. Soka. Jed, I think, doesn't quite handle it. Every time I phone Jed on Skype to talk about designs or something, he's got the Mac in front of him, he's designing, he's got a kid behind him, one kid on his lap, and he says, Dave, I gotta go make dinner in a few minutes. It's like... I don't think Jed has it worked out well with four sprouts there. More difficult for Jed. Well, I'd really like to, I'm not putting you off, I would really like to get on that video because we need something on the YouTube channel right now, absolutely. Viewership has dropped off dramatically the last week or so. And obviously maybe YouTube's algorithm is doing different things because of the international situation, but we need new video content right away. So I'm not gonna myself try and be a delay issue here. Today it's dose upstairs first actually. I said Kawasaki-san's color separation. Before that it's sizing. Ayumi-san and Suritaro and Chiharu-san all need paper by the weekend. So I'm sizing this morning. And this afternoon I'm trying to work on those color separations. People who are thinking that because our shop is closed and things are rolling down that we have free time here now, I have never, ever been busier now. Never been busier. So is my mother in the stream here today? I didn't notice, but I haven't been watching. Hey Mom, are you here? How you doing with your isolation? Are you here today? Bad to admit, I keep meaning to call my mom, but it's to call her is the best time. It's just around noon here. We're going into my early afternoon, and that's the time there's just always stuff going on. Go get lunch, go grab this, go do this. By the time I remember, you say it's always too late, she'll be in bed, so. She is still here. Yes, no. Speak up, Mom, you there? Oh, it's a girl. I hadn't heard that news. Cameron-san, is that public for the first time here, or just I was dense? One of each. Hey, congratulations. Next month, is it? Right to show? Well, that's something to blame. If your print is late, blame Cameron, because he's up late feeding the baby. I think that's sort of the classic combination, isn't it? A boy first, then a girl. I always felt that I was lucky. I was the oldest boy, I had a brother, and then later we had a younger kid sister. So there's sort of the kid-sister situation in the house. And I couldn't have imagined, can you imagine being a girl first, and then sort of in the house, and a boy coming in later, and you've got this older girl. I don't know, I would have thought, I would look at that now and think that's the combination I would not want to be part of, Having a younger sister seems totally cool. Oh, totally all right. There's this, this young girl. But having an older sister, I can't imagine what that would be like, Imagine my sister was here on the stream the other day. She might be here today. Seven. you going to try and beat that record, Cameron, Sam? Yeah, I mean, once you get 7 in the house, then all those dynamics of I've got an older sister or a younger sister, I guess that becomes meaningless. It becomes a clan at that point, I guess. It's in these kind of nuclear families when there's only 2 or 3, the dynamics of who's older or younger. But a clan, my God. Cameron, out of 7, you're near the bottom, are you? I can't remember, you told me, but I'm sorry not to remember clearly. Bottom, that's not the right word to use, I mean, end of the line. We must be getting near this. Oh, one left, and then we switch to the last color. Actually, we're running a little bit early here. Doesn't matter, time is what it is. We'll finish when we're finished, and that'll be it. I've got such a lot of other stuff to do, it's okay. Number 5, close to the bottom. I guess that's the wrong word to use, but whatever. Just 7 kids. I just can't imagine being a parent of 7 kids. How do you remember their names? Here we are. Second color is finished. Flip over the stack. And switch out. There's the key block. This again is plywood. It's insane that it's lasted so long. Actually, it's a bit hard to understand what this is. So let's go back for a minute. If I look at the ends of these were the very first prints I made for this kind of an event. I was carving on my normal cherry for my normal practice work, but for the kids event at the community center, I just grabbed a piece of plywood from the Home Depot, whatever, and that plywood was this stuff. It was the top layer you see here. How do I get the camera here? That was it. It was like, what is it? It's 3mm ply, something like that. I don't know, whatever. And I put it in the bench up there, and it just worked crazily within minutes of starting to use it. So we taped it down to the bench for that first event, blah, blah, blah. Get home from noon, they call me again, Dave, let's do this next week or something, and now I got to figure out what to do. So I got another piece of like 9mm ply, and I just nailed it down. Bang on, bang on, bang on. So this is now actually sort of 2 layers just to give it some stability. But with the key block, what happened was, we started getting lots of mess around the outside. So I carved it away to the point where it's gone. So what you see with this key block now is like a 9mm ply. And can you see this thing in the middle? That's what's left of the original key block. It was originally nailed down at the corners, but as it got chopped away, it disappeared. So we ended up screwing it. There's a few screws here holding down this last little remnant. You can see it. It's like that tiny, thin plywood. And I must have glued it down and stuck it on. And this has been running since, I forget the year, 1988 or 1999. And it has made thousands and thousands and thousands of copies. And yet, look at it. It's still holding up. You'll see now. Movie came out in 88, that'll be it. I would have done it, well, it would be 88 or 89. We did this. And again, no permission from Ghibli at that time. It was just a community center activity. Now, we don't sell this. Don't ask me to buy this. We're not going to be selling it. Oh, I should have softened up this brush. I forgot. Too much talk, not enough work. Okay, this minute. That brush is hard, and we have to be careful with this block. So give me a minute to get that softened up. Yeah, all these beginners who were like trying on cherry wood and stuff, plywood is okay. So, but actually, having said that, there's a bit of a, I don't know, if you, as a beginner, if you grab a piece of soft, tiny, this wasn't even Sheena plywood for printmaking. This was just home center crap plywood. If you tried this as a beginner, I mean, you are going to pop nearly all these lines off. I know to do this is not recommended. To start with a print of this many fine lines as a beginner on plywood, this is going to be a disaster. So I'm sorry, this is a bit of a thing not to recommend. Starting on plywood as a beginner, stuff like this, totally okay. Hack away at it, chip away at it, you'll print it. Don't bother with the fine lines. Get yourself some stability first. I could only get away with this because I had a few years behind me. Catbus is a scary creature from My Neighbor Totoro. Scary. Interesting. That's not the mood in the Japanese version at all. The catbus is the helpful savior, cool, helpful, happy, warm, comforting. Nobody in Japan would think kawaii, scary about the catbus at all. And I saw that thing with my kids, and they were born in 83, 85, so they would have been like 6 and 4 when we saw that first, together in the theaters. And they were happy and crying and dancing and whatever. Nothing about that movie was scary for my kids, you know. Fuzzy heated seats, yeah. So, okay, what are we doing here? Let's get this block. You know, I'm going to pause because this block is thirsty. You can see already. I keep moistening it. But as I do, seconds later, see, it gets dry already. That flat ring around the outside dries. So give me a couple of minutes here to let this block drink for a minute. How is the cherrywood pipeline going? Whatever. I couldn't call it a pipeline. We have bits of tree and cut wood and drying stuff all over the building here now. Nothing. It's chaos. It's chaos. Chaos. We've got bits of wood everywhere. By the time most of the wood gets to my carving bench, we really recognize it's no good. There's no pipeline. Have other printing places order from you? No, we're not even thinking about selling wood. Well, we are actually. What we've got is, because we've been doing the cherrywood thing now for 3 or 4 years, 2 or 3 years, 3 or 4 years, we've got a bunch of wood upstairs now that's sliced that really quite it's not good enough for us. But for somebody just starting their first prints, whatever, it's really sort of decent, okay cherry, but it's not something we can use for super fine line work. So Aoi and I are thinking about this. We've got this wood upstairs. There's no way we can bond it to plywood and sell it overseas because it's just too heavy to do. So what we're thinking about doing is some of the wood we've got here now that's dried for 4 or 5 years, we will sell it in like A4 size flat pieces, 5mm thick, something like that. No idea. At the moment we're just sort of, in stasis. But the idea is there that we would possibly start selling some dried cherry wood. It'll be B grade. We'll talk about it. It's not A grade. We'll keep the A grade for ourselves. But it'll be B grade cherry, okay for people to start on and experiment with and make not so many impressions from. Here's our stuff. It's Bokuju. It's the calligraphy ink from Japan. Here. Calligraphy ink here comes in really lots of grades. Your corner grocery store has some calligraphy ink, but it's no good. It's way too dilute. This is the stuff that's sold to professional calligraphy teachers. And the Japanese brand name is Kaimei Bokuju. And it's sold on Amazon.com in North America too. And it is fabulous. Fabulous, fabulous. It's black enough for key lines. It's not black enough for those mass black hairdos and stuff like that. For that we use sumi sticks. But it's black enough for key lines, and it's so beautifully ground in their huge machines that grind up all the carbon and whatever. So it's very little wear and tear on the key blocks. If you keep your brush moist, Soften the brush on a shark skin and use Kaimei Bokuju for your key blocks. They will last far, 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 far longer. Yeah, Cameron's talking about another option perhaps for cherry trees. And the key point to what Cameron's talking about here is not just that we're getting a cherry tree from a mountain, but that we know who we're getting it from, where we're getting it from, and when we're getting it from. And these people we know. So the point being, we get a tree, we look at it, we inspect it, we buy it, we slice it, we open it up, we talk to them, we look at it, inspect it, dry it, dry it, dry it, dry it, dry it, get to the carving bench, it's no good. We now have a connection with those people. We can say, look, here's what happened, here's what's no good. What do you think about this? So that's what we need to create a supply chain, is people at the top end of it being in communication with the people at the back end of it. And that's what we haven't had the last few years. We've just got random pieces of cherry from the markets. Even if one of them had been great, oh my God, let's do this again. We go back there, who, what, where? Nobody knows where it came from. So the thing Cameron's talking about here is that if we can develop this, there is a guy in that area who knows what we want and who can communicate with us, then we have a chance to build a supply chain. So Cameron, please, please, please do what you got to do. Keep that thing cooking. Dave, have I ever considered doing a series of prints based on horror? No, but Cameron, you're going to come in here and tell them what's going on? Cameron, you haven't seen this yet. Shiba-san's newest print. I saw it in Ome on Tuesday. She's doing test printing on it. You think you've seen horror. You haven't seen horror yet. It's whatever. Red, red, red pigment everywhere. Swords everywhere. Hanging upside down everywhere. Tied up everywhere. It is horror top to bottom. Top to bottom. She's still working on it. It's not ready to go into the website yet, but she is still working on it. And I do not want anything to do with this print. At the moment on my desk is the text to go with the print. She's asked me to help her with an English translation. Actually, Cameron, remind me later on. I can send that to you later on because we need to do a layout for it. But it ends with the decapitation. The story that's being told ends with the decapitation. The print itself is a multi-story print. It's not just one image of somebody doing something. It's this guy's life, different episodes from his life, all sort of scattered through this imagery. Okay, Block, I think you've drunk enough. You might be ready to pull an impression. Let's see. Let's give this a go. Hands clean. Lightly touch all over first. Gradually increase the pressure. Focus on the border. Don't go all the way around in one because it'll twist the paper. I came halfway around, now back around the other way. Gentle pressure in the middle, really careful on the face. Tiny bit more on the tail. Again, on the border, a bit more press. Let's have a look. What do you think, gang? Acceptable? I think she is acceptable. Let's roll. Brush hair. That's a brush hair. Gone. Oh, going quick and yeah, it's exactly, Cameron. Now, if I did this first, it would smear. It's a question of the time. It's not for the surprise factor here, it's for the time. If I did the key block first, go to the yellow, it would smear instantly everywhere. It would smear. And also the black would transfer to the yellow key block. If I did the black first, then printed this, you'd see black lines all over here. Then when I grabbed my brush, that black would be, and the yellow would go blacker and blacker and blacker and blacker and blacker. What's in the second bowl, the one with the bluish brush? This one? This is paste. Paste. We're mixing two things. We have calligraphy ink and light paste. It's basically starch paste. The one I'm using today is not made from rice. No rice was harmed in the production of this paste. Getting a little bit of black here. Look at this coming up. Get my glasses, hang on. After a break like that of 1 or 2 minutes, the block dries. So I got to throw a bit of water on it, but now it's too wet, so I just got to hang on a sec. I wonder if we're the largest. I don't know. No idea. I don't have any idea how big Adachi is. They're still going on. I don't know. We could be, we could be the largest supplier. I don't know. There's no way to tell such a thing. And we're certainly the highest quality, whatever. We don't just blast out tons and tons of lower quality prints. So we're certainly the top shop these days in terms of the quality of stuff we put out, absolutely. It's funny, after all these hundreds of years of history, ukiyo-e, we're the inheritors of the tradition. It's still something that blows my mind. It's a funny expression, but whatever. I just still don't understand how this could happen. This little guy here with this little shop, and we are the real inheritor of this tradition. Go on now, clean, eh? Nothing there. What am I doing with the leftover ink? I'm not sure what you mean. You mean the stuff just that's left in the bottles after we finished like this? This just it'll sit there for a while or have a dust cover on it. The girls upstairs put dust covers on and just toss it. It's just a tiny, tiny bit of powdered pigment. There's nothing valuable here. The owl is our stream mascot. It's a present sent to me by my mother a while ago. A year ago, I guess. I don't even know. No idea. And I don't know how it got its name. Does anybody remember? It's called Fridge. Why? Because of the thing every morning where I got to take the paper out of the fridge? I don't remember the connection. I'm sorry. Lost in the mists of time? I don't know. Another brush here. This brush is old. These blocks actually are world travelers. You know, I did that first. I said they were carved in the 80s for a local thing. Then they slept for many years, and then I used them for demonstration, I guess. I went to Victoria, near Vancouver in Canada, to sort of I worked as part of a woodblock printmaking workshop with some people. And one of the guys there, Julio, friend from Chicago, Julio Rodriguez, you know, he's an amateur printmaker, really, really super enthusiastic. He's made hundreds and hundreds of prints now. Amateur guy, really, really nice guy. And he wanted to borrow these blocks for some kind of an event in Chicago, you know, to show printmaking to kids and whatever. So whatever, I sent him over, no problem. And I guess I forgot about it, and I forget exactly, he and I were chatting or something. He said, Dave, about those Catbus blocks. No, or maybe I written to him, said, Julio, can you send back the Catbus blocks? Because I need them for something, you know, event in Tokyo, whatever. And he writes back, or we Skype back, I forget. He says, Dave, I can't find them. So he had lost them somewhere, or they'd been stolen from one of the events, or I don't remember. I didn't get upset. It's just a bunch of blocks from a kid's event, you know, whatever. We just forgot about it. Okay, they're history. Big deal. Nothing I can do about it. A couple more years go by, and this is literally a couple more years go by, and one day I get an email from Julio. I found them! I'd been digging in the basement or something and come up with I think he found them in a box of harpsichord parts or something. I can't remember the story. But, so I said, okay, well, let's have them. So he sent them back over. So they came. The Catbus blocks arrived from Chicago in a box, and here they are. We use them occasionally for public events or this or that, you know. So these Catbus blocks these blocks have been over to Canada and back, and they've been over to Chicago and back. No idea how many thousands and thousands of impressions. The main fridge, I don't remember it. We started streaming when I was still at the back of the second floor. And there was a fridge, there were two fridges, and there was a fridge and a freezer in the room there. Then we moved up to the third floor. No, that's not right. No, when we started streaming, the printers were already up on the third floor. I was using the back of the second floor as my carving room. There was no fridge in that room. Let me get this right. I did the streaming from my carving bench on the second floor. Then after that, we got the first floor and the streaming started to go downstairs. I don't know. How much overlap is there between the color and the black line work? Does the color underneath? No. I know nearly all of our printing is done with semi-transparent, transparent or semi-transparent stuff. When I printed that first yellow, it was a layer by itself. Then when the brown came on top of it, that brown was transparent or semi-transparent. If I had printed that brown over the yellow and over some other areas, you would have seen two shades of the brown. It would have been slightly changed where it was over the yellow underneath it. So the colors are strongly affected by what's below them. Black, for the most part, and what I'm doing today, this blots out. This is opaque. Nothing is going to show through from underneath it. Those colors were soft and transparent. This black is bold and black. Now sometimes we print the black softer, more gray or something, and in that case the colors underneath, of course, do show. This one here today, no. If I take the picture again, I'm not sure if I can see this. There's the black by itself. It's black. And the black over top of the yellow is black. The yellow is just not strong enough to show through this thing. So in this particular case, the black is totally opaque. And if we had color marks, if we had an A and a B color zone with a black line would cover up the joint. I can't catch all this stuff, I'm sorry. Oh yeah. Don't start that, Jacques-San. Europeans first floor. At the moment I am on the ground floor. The print party room is at the back of the ground floor, the ex-print party room. Are you taking the paper from the bottom? No, what I've done, our normal printing, we have an in stack in front of me and we have an out stack at the side. So the in stack it's this part you see here, face down, number 1 at the top going down to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we take from the in stack print and we put it face up on the out stack. Now today, because there's just no room here, this is the print party bench, not my normal bench, I'm just combining them. This is not efficient at all. Please don't nail me to the wall for this. It's fiddling around with all these things. The normal procedure, you put your pigment on, you reach out to your in stack, and you don't even have to open it up, it's just sitting there waiting for you. You pull your paper out, take your impression. Because I'm a left-handed person, in my normal printing environment, my right hand grabs the paper, flips it over here to the out stack, which is on my right hand side. I look at it, inspect it. My left hand, while I'm inspecting, my left hand is grabbing the brush, ready for the next impression. So there would be, for a left-handed printer, an out stack on the right hand side. For a right-handed printer, the out stack is on the left hand side. And today, just for convenience, we get it all packed in one little place, and there's no rush. We're not trying to get a zillion prints. It's just combined here. On my website, there's lots of photographs of this kind of thing, the working environment. If you go to woodblock.com/diversions and look for the soundscape, it's the soundscape of the Kingfisher. And as part of the soundscape, I took photographs of the working environment and numbered and labeled everything. Number 1, in stack. Number 2, out stack, whatever. So if you go to woodblock.com/diversions and look for the soundscape with Kingfisher. You'll find links to a bunch of pages with photographs of a real printer's area set up as it is normally for the printing work. Not a temporary quick job like we have here today. And yeah, the prints can stack. It's nothing, you know. Just watch. Hang on a second here. I'll take this one. But we've printed this. The paper is still wet. This is a print that we've just made. I'm going to put it on top of the plastic here. Here's my hands. Nothing. It doesn't matter. This is a wet print, but the pigment has gone inside the paper, and you can do whatever. Look. I'm not fooling, I'm not playing a game for you here. That's how it works. The pigment goes inside the paper. So putting it back inside the stack is nothing. I can put it here. I can put it on top of the block. It doesn't matter, there's nothing there because the block itself, it's all been pulled off the block. Did I bang too much? Hurt the audio? Sorry. Excuse me. Whoa. Don't get excited, Dave. Excuse me. Dry. This block still is dry, you know. Don't cough in my head, whatever. I'm here by myself all day today. This isn't a shop anymore, so whatever. The registration marks here are not wood, they're just pieces of paper. As we mentioned, the original block has been carved and recarved and cut and pasted down. It was trimmed into a circle, screwed down. The original Kento marks were long gone. So we just put pieces of paper here. This isn't what we would use in our print party these days because these are too small. They're too big for me, but they're too small for beginners. But yeah, just a couple of pieces of paper, just glued on. Registration marks are movable, you know, movable. It could be that while I was doing this, if I'm making 100 copies, it starts raining, the paper swells, I have to move the registration marks. Drying rack, if you put it in a drying rack, they will all swell up and you got to dry them under covers. The New Year's print job, we're so far behind on that, I'm sorry. You know, they're still going out now to people. I don't know how, Cameron's printing the labels in something random order. They're going to Patreon people's, collectors, friends. I think the labels were all printed out in sensible order. The girls here put the labels on the envelopes like last November, December. Then the envelopes are all just in a box. So whenever a new batch of prints comes, a bunch of random envelopes get pulled out of the box. So there's no order to those things going out. There might be some wonderful, huge, wonderful supporters who just haven't got theirs yet. I'm sorry. We're not finished. 175 of them left a couple of weeks ago, and we're still not finished. I think there's over 100 envelopes still in the box. We have really, well, whatever. No, we need small registration marks because we have to move them. And if the registration mark is some gigantic thing, we can't move it easily. So all you need is the point of the corner. You don't need this area. It's just the point of the corner that tells you the information you need to know. Well, we got prints left. We're almost finished, I think, you know. Two sheets before we're done. What time is it? 9:21. 2 sheets. Okay, we're getting near the time to wrap it up then. So, it won't be a hot night today. Nobody to talk to. Throw your last questions in. This batch of prints is now finished. Anything else we need to mention about it before we end up signing off in a few minutes? Have we considered collaboration with Mainstream Anime? We're full. We're not considering any other new work. We can't keep up with the projects we've got at the moment. Okay, Heroes is running, the subscription prints are running, the 8 Cat series is falling farther and farther behind, the Octopus is waiting. We can't even think about new projects. Let me wash my hands for a sec. I got black on my fingers, and if I pick up those prints, we know where that's going to go. Hang on a sec. That's confused me. Line work is printed first normally. Well, I don't know if I can the whole thing. Line work is printed first. We wait a day or so and then print the colors. And very few, sometimes we dry the paper and re-moisten it. The reason I did the line work last today is because I'm just going to go bang, bang, bang. Yellow first. If I had done the black first, the yellow would smear when I try and print on it. So today is not the normal way for doing things, although you're fine to do this as long as you can control the registration. If you're doing not so many copies, and if you've tested your registration so that you know it's going to fit, then you could print the lines last. But if you haven't tested well, or if you can't control your moisture well, you print color A, looks okay, color B, looks okay maybe, color C, okay maybe, put the line work on, and A and B and C don't line up. So for us, the lines have to come first, except for a very, very simple, quick, easy job like this. Okay, what have we got here? Let's have a quick thing. You know how to count paper, right? Pop. Like they do in the banks. The girls in the banks do it. You've got your stack, up, pull, up, pull, up, pull, up, pull. That gives us the breakdown here, and then with your glasses, 5, 10, 15, 19. 19, is that right? Whatever. So 19 copies of the print in an hour and a half, 90 minutes. So if I were going to sell these, 19 copies. Suppose they were for $10 each or something. That's $190 in an hour and a half. You could make a living doing this if you could work out some way to do it. with block printmaking. That's the thing about this, People think it's one of the most inefficient. They see me carving. Like I carve like a square centimeter in an hour or something like that. And think, oh my God, this is one of the worst. How can you possibly make a living doing this? But when you think about it, whatever, okay, well, it's days and days of work to do this. Okay, a couple more days for color blocks. Let's exaggerate. Let's say it took me a week to carve this set of blocks. I don't know. As you saw, what's the minute per print? I don't know. Did somebody do a calculation? 90 minutes for 19 prints. Suppose it was 20 prints. 1, 2, 3, 5, 24, 18. It's like 3 minutes each or something. You could make a living at this. Anybody can make a living at this. If you get a little bit efficient at it, if you get a little bit consistent at it, and if you want to produce objects that other people will want, as in, wow, I'd like to take this home. If you do that, it's one of the world's best ways to make a living, Creating beauty for people, having fun doing it with a peaceful, easy job. No, this isn't the washi we do for our normal prints. How am I going to dry it? Actually, excuse me, they're sort of almost half dry now because I didn't re-moisten this as I went along. What I'm going to do is first step, actually, I was going to say, here, feel. I'm not quite sure what to say. Tony, how can I describe this in words? This is not now wet, soggy paper. It's not soggy. It's just lightly damp. If I put this on the floor here, just lay them on the floor, for 5 or 10 minutes, they will lose their residual moisture. If I left them lying out, or somebody said a drying rack, they would just become wavy and they won't ever flatten again. So I air dry them, let's use that word. I air dry them for 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, depending on the climate here. And then after most of the moisture is gone, we put them just between boards. I've got a stack of 1mm illustration board here. We just put them in pair, stack it up, put a weight on top, and that's it. The illustration board takes out most of the rest of the moisture. The illustration boards themselves have to be dried off. We stack them up later where the air can get in and dry them down to room. And then out they go. Why do we wait a day after printing the key block? It stables out. I don't know the scientific molecular stuff that's happening. If I had printed this block here first, just the same as we did here today, with that level of black and that level of paste, and put it in there, and printed straight away, it goes on the yellow. But if I wait a day or so, it doesn't do that. The moisture, I guess, seeps into the paper. It doesn't set, it doesn't dry. Again, I don't know what happens at a molecular level, but it doesn't smear if you do that. Okay, I guess I better get out of here. It's 9:30. I have now got sizing to do this morning, and then this afternoon color separation work, or the start of the color separation work. Excuse me, on print number 7 in this year's series. What's the schedule? Today's Thursday. I should be back here Saturday morning, probably back at my carving bench down there, working on the color blocks for the Evening Snow version print of the 8 cats. No hot mic today. No outside camera today. We're just going to sign off. In fact, tell you what we'll do. Let's do this. It's in our party room. People come in for the party room. This is what they see on the wall. And not a bad way to end the stream here today. But see you Saturday morning. Thanks, guys. I'll hit the button that says stop streaming.